This is the matter of Dylan Oliver, DOC number 770044. Date of birth, December the 19th of 1997. He's classified as a first-time felony offender. He has a parole eligibility date of September the 15th of 2023. He has a full term date of June the 15th of 2024. He is currently serving a 2-year sentence on the charge of carnal knowledge and indecent behavior with a juvenile, having been sentenced on June the 20th of 2022. Is that information correct, Mr. Oliver?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Oliver, your case has been assigned to Ms. Pearl Wise. Would you please answer it? She'll begin our interview process. Would you please answer any question she might have?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Call out for the record. How old are you today?
25,
And how long you been in jail on this charge?
since last August,
Last August,
since last June.
last June, so 1 year?
Yes, ma'am.
1 year. Okay. How much education do you have?
High school diploma,
What year you finished high school, graduate?
2017.
Class of 2017, okay. You have a full term date of June the 15th of 2024.
Yes, ma'am.
You have, fairly short term of sentence. I'm interested in knowing what happened. The offense date was sometime in 2017. Then you were arrested April the 22nd of 2021. What was your relationship between you and the victim during that span of time?
He was my cousin.
Okay. And what kind of relationship, what kind of contact did y'all have? Or what did,
Um,
you don't have to speak up now because you just need to speak up.
we would talk over social media, and she would come to visit every once in a while.
So between 17 and 21, she had come back to Louisiana to visit?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay.
I have not seen her since 2017.
Okay, correct, okay.
We're talking.
So that's why I'm questioning. After that, she went back, where was she living? In Colorado. She went back to Colorado. You were still living in Louisiana, right?
Yes.
And so you all still contacted by social media, and that's what you're asking?
No, ma'am. I have not talked or seen her since
Or
20.
communicated with her?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So how was it when she was planning to come to Louisiana in 2017, you all were texting back and forth? Who initiated those texts? That's what the report says.
I guess I did.
Okay. Who initiated the talk about having sex?
I did.
And how old was she and how old were you?
At the time, I was 19 and she was 14.
Okay. Do you remember what they could tell us about it? What was that about? What was going on with you?
At the time, I was enrolled in classes at Delgado Community College. There was a lot of different things going on in my life, and that is no excuse. I'm not saying that.
But when you say a lot of different things, just name a few of them.
I did not do well in college. That is.
Miss Well, what now?
I
Okay,
did not do well in the one semester that I did of community college.
okay,
And I was fresh out of high school, trying to find my place in the world, and was very much struggling with that. And I was not in my right mind.
What about drugs or alcohol?
No, ma'am.
Yep, that was not a fact. Well, had you dated in high school?
Yes, ma'am.
You recognize that it's unusual for cousins to start talking about having sex, and that's why I'm still not getting an understanding of, I just still can't picture it. But you did admit that you initiated the dialogue about sex.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us what you've been doing in prison. It's almost 1 year. What kind of programs have you taken?
I've taken the inside outside dads program, nurturing parenting, pre-release, and anger management. And I'm currently in the victim impact program and the risk management program.
How far along are you in victim impact?
I have 2 weeks left, and then the third week is where I will get my certificate.
Tell us a little bit about what you learned in victim impact that you didn't already know.
Well, each week they go through a certain crime, and they list statistics and different things about each crime, and how it affects everyone, not just if it's targeted at one or a group of victims. You know, each crime has a ripple effect, and even if you think your crime might not have a victim per se, it still affects the community and different people involved and families.
Have you ever been a victim of a crime of any kind?
No, ma'am.
You never had anything stolen from you?
No, ma'am.
That's really good. I forgot to ask this earlier. Back to your cousin. So how is she your cousin? On which side of your family?
She's the daughter of my mother's brother.
On your mother's side, your mother's brother. Okay. I do want to inform you there's a law enforcement opposition to your early release. And you have not had an opportunity to take the sex offender classes. That's correct. She didn't.
I'm currently in the sex offender class.
Oh, you're in phase 1?
Yes, risk management.
Okay. When did you enroll?
About 3 months ago.
Okay. 3 months ago. Good. What do you do every day besides those classes?
I mainly keep to myself in the dorm. I like to read a lot. I'm always getting books from the library. I go outside on the yard. I try to at least twice a day. And I'm in squad 8. We go in the field. I mainly try to stay to myself, though.
And I think you're a Strive member, right? You've already accomplished that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
So
ma'am.
you're in the, say what now?
You're right up free.
Yes, indeed. Good. How many writers have you had?
0.
That's right. Oh, 0. That's good. All right, Warren, what can you tell us about this young man?
Well, Ms. Wise, he has a 2-year sentence. And he's done 1 year of that, and we do have him enrolled in our sex offender program, risk management. But even with the time that he has left, I won't be able to get him completely through phase 1 and phase 2. Of course, like to, but we'll be close.
Yeah.
So I would like to see him complete. I think he needs that, complete as much of that as he can. Of course,
Warren, we can hardly hear you.
sorry.
Sorry.
But I would like him to complete that. I would like him to get as much of that as he can for his release.
Thank you, Warren. That's all I had, Chair.
Thank you. I have a question. Mr. Oliver, in 2017, when your cousin went to visit you, when was the last time you had seen her before that?
I think she may have visited sometime within the last year or two before that.
So she would have been 12 or 13 when
Yes,
she
sir.
visited the first time?
Yes, sir.
Were you friendly then? Did y'all talk about things that you texted her about when she was 12 or 13 on that visit?
No, sir.
Did you and she communicate regularly on Facebook, or was it just because she was coming to visit?
At that point, she had just gotten her cell phone, if I remember correctly. So we exchanged Snapchats.
I guess my question is, what prompted you to suggest to her that y'all would have sex? And what prompted you to open this discussion with your cousin, who you hadn't seen in a couple of years and who was much younger than you? What prompted you to do that?
I say this as honestly as possible, sir. I cannot remember.
All right, okay, thank you. Okay, now we'll hear from your uncle, DeMarcus Smith.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Smith. If you'll introduce yourself and tell us what you'd like us to know.
I, DeMarcus Smith, I am Dylan's uncle by marriage. His mother is my wife's sister, my wife Cherie. Cherie and I raised Dylan in our house from age 5 through age 18, kind of as a foster child to help Dylan out through some of his crucial years. And I think we know him as well as anyone. Dylan made a bad decision, terrible decision, quite a while ago. And his remorse, regret, fear has been with him long before incarceration. And I think will continue long after incarceration. I think it's made a big impact on him. Dylan is a good kid at heart. I think his terrible decision will hang with him for a while, whether he is in jail or not. As a parent, I want to see us able to put him back on his feet, make an independent citizen out of him, give him an education and a trade where he can have a career beyond an hourly job. I look at it from the standpoint that the longer he's in there, the more difficult it is to rehabilitate him. Dylan left living with us at 18. So this occurred after he was out of our care. It's still no less impactful, though, that basically one of my kids did something like this. But we've got a good support system in place for Dylan, under the thumb, and we're ready to receive him when y'all are ready to let him go. I don't think Dylan knows this is the last shot. I don't think we're going to have any trouble. He understands the plan. I've talked ad nauseum to him about what his future is and how much in control he is of it. That is after he's released, whenever that may be. So, I'd like to take him back and set him up and help him out and teach him how to be a citizen that can be on his own and have a life, have a family.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. He's lucky to have you supporting him. Thank you. Now we'll hear from Margot Keith.
Hi. So I've been,
Please introduce yourself and tell us what you'd like us to know.
I'm Margot Kiff. I've been with Dylan since before he was incarcerated. I speak with him every day and we email regularly. And I visit him as often as I can with the visitation policies at RLCC. Dylan told me about this extremely early into our relationship and wanted me to know how much of a mistake it was that he made and that he takes full responsibility for it, and let me make the decision before too far into our relationship. It was date 4 before I got really attached to him and I made my decision to continue to be with him, and he's taken me into consideration knowing his charge. He has done everything he can since being in RLCC to become a better person, to be ready to rejoin society and to come home. He wrote to get into classes as soon as he was able to. He wasn't enrolled until January, but has completed 4 courses already. He keeps his head down. He does what he's supposed to do. He's ready to come home. I don't see him as a threat to society. This is not something I see him doing again. He has a support system when he comes home. He has myself, my family, my friends, as well as his aunt, his uncle, and his mom, and their friends as well. We will all be helping him find a job in between now and when he comes home, with whatever restrictions there are in place for doing so. We are ready for him to come home, and we don't believe that he is a threat to anyone. And we would hope that you grant him parole. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. We'll now hear from Ms. Joan Kipp.
My name is Joan Kipp. I'm Margot's mom. I wrote a letter, but it wasn't in the right format, so I'm going to read from my letter. It says, "My name is Joan Kipp. I am writing this letter in support of Dylan Oliver's upcoming hearing for parole on July 12th. I met Dylan through his relationship with my daughter. From the interactions I've had with Dylan, both prior to his incarceration and during his time served, he has displayed proper behaviors towards her and my family. I respect him for being forthcoming with my daughter and with my family regarding his charges. He has abided by the rules while in prison and participated in classes to help him move forward, become a better person, and participate fully in society. Upon his release, I will be providing my home for him as a place for residence. He will live with me and my son. I worked at Waterford 3 nuclear power plant for 34 years and am now retired. My son just graduated from LSU and is working at a physical therapy clinic. Dylan has a supporting family environment to come home to. We are looking to help him get employment opportunities for him. We are here for him to support him in whatever area he needs assistance: residence, friendship, spiritual, financial, employment. I respectfully ask that you consider granting him parole. If I believed in any way that Dylan was a threat to society or in any manner, I would not be in support of him dating my only daughter or being part of my family. Thank you."
Thank you. Now we'll hear from the opposition. We do have 4 speakers and we can only use 3. So who wishes to speak? Why don't we start with Ms. Zoe Doggone?
I'm Zoe Diargon. I'm Dylan's cousin. It's hard to explain the lasting impacts of having your innocence taken away from such a young age and knowing that that's not something that you can get back. I've spent many years working through these impacts and working through the trauma. I've been in therapy since then, and I've been on anxiety, depression, and sleep medications. Not only did he take advantage of a minor, but his own cousin, my own flesh and blood, took advantage of me at a time in my life where I was very vulnerable and I was supposed to be protected. And I don't think that somebody who has rained down that much fear on an innocent girl's life should be let off that easy. The lasting impacts that I have are much more major than spending 2 years in prison. And I think action should have consequences. And I'm just asking you to not allow Dylan Oliver's early parole. Thank you.
Very much, ma'am. We appreciate your comments. Who else would like to speak there? Is Lisa Doggone?
Yes. Hi, I'm Lisa Diargon. I'm Zoe's mom. We are adamantly opposed to Dylan Oliver being paroled early. At barely 14, my daughter was still playing with American Girl dolls. She had never experienced her first kiss. Her innocence was completely taken from her. This will never come back. It has destroyed our family. We have the past 6 years we've spent in therapy, trying to survive. The traumas at the hands of Dylan Oliver are countless right now. Sometimes it feels like this happened a lifetime ago. And then there are other days where it feels like the nightmare just happened yesterday, and it haunts her every day. It's something she will live with for the rest of her life. Because 6 years have passed, I wanted to show you a picture of my daughter that was taken 5 months before Dylan did this to her. And I implore you to have him serve out the remainder of his sentence, not just for our only daughter, but so that Dylan will learn that life has consequences and his actions have consequences. And we appreciate everything that the board has done to listen to us. This has been a horrible thing that we couldn't protect our daughter from. And that we would just appreciate your consideration to not let him off early on this.
Thank you, Ms. Diago. Mr. Meyer, would you want to close out?
Yes, sir. Randall Meyer, Assistant DA, Jefferson Parish. And we're strongly opposed to Mr. Oliver's parole at this time. You know, he was very lucky to receive the sentence that he did for such a crime that he committed to his 14-year-old cousin when he was 19. It's really hard to fathom. As you heard, there's very strong victim opposition. I think he's been incarcerated since about June of 22, and just recently, within the last 3 months, started the phase 1 sex offender treatment. I think it's imperative that he, and he probably doesn't have time to complete all phases of the sex offender treatment, but I think it's imperative that he gets as many phases of that sex offender treatment that he's able to get in. And I would ask that upon his release that he be mandated to continue with sex offender treatment until he completes such a program. He's got a moderate risk assessment, which is pretty amazing for a 25-year-old first offender. When you look at some of the breakdown on that, his mental health is a high risk assessment and his education is moderate. And that's very concerning to me as well. And his programming really has been very limited. He's had only anger management, inside out dads, and pre-release. And I'm glad to hear that he is currently in the sex offender treatment. So for those reasons, we are strongly opposed to his request.
Thank you very much, Mr. Meyer. We appreciate your comments. Mr. Oliver, is there anything that you'd like to say before the board votes?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Written.
Certain.
In 2017, I was 19 and I made a mistake that I didn't understand. And I cannot change it. But I can and do take full responsibility for my actions. What I did was immature and very stupid, and I'm very sorry. When I was first incarcerated, I blamed everyone but myself. It took me a long time to start saying I put myself in here. I broke the law and these are my consequences. I really have dove into my classes available to me here, especially anger management. I recognize I do have a temper, and I'm proud of myself putting in the work to learn to control it. Each class I've completed and am currently taking has resonated with me. On September 23rd of 2021, I swore my oath to the Louisiana Army National Guard as a United States infantryman. On March 25th, 2022, I earned my cross rifles and blue paracord and came back home to begin duty with my unit. Not long after that, I, along with the rest of the members of Task Force Delta and joint operations with the New Orleans Police Department, aided and assisted in providing 12-hour night security shifts in the city during the blackouts caused by Hurricane Ida from August 27th to September 19th in 2021. My time with the Army was fulfilling, yet short-lived. And upon release, I will be gunning to return to it. I've been in contact with one of my lieutenants from my former unit, and he says it won't be easy, but there is a way that I can re-enlist. Alongside returning to my part-time service with the Army National Guard, I plan to enroll in the welding program at Nunez College in Chalmette. This school is near where I'll be living in Metairie at 609 Rosa Avenue with Miss Joan Kipp, the mother of my girlfriend. Miss Joan is a devout Catholic woman who firmly believes in those who live under her roof to be active and productive members of working society. Her home isn't near any kinds of schools or parks and is in accordance with my registration requirements. As a member of Free Society, I intend to further grow in my faith and walk with the Lord. I did not find my Savior during my time in prison. I've known him all my life. Through my baptism in the Catholic Church, my confirmation, and many years with my then local church's Christian youth organization, as well as through the love and ironclad support of my family. As far as what I'm told is called prescriptive programming goes, I'm currently taking the Louisiana Risk Management Cognitive Behavioral Sex Offender Treatment Program. I understand that this is a 2-year-long program to complete. Considering I was put into this class as early as the start of the 2nd year of my sentence, if granted parole, I am more than willing to finish this treatment program on the outside if possible, along with any other additional programs or groups deemed necessary. I've completed 4 classes and am also currently taking the Victim Impact Listen and Learn course that I'll finish in 2 weeks. While I understand that there will be various restrictions in place for me as far as reintegrating into a community goes, I am certain I can find a law-abiding and productive place in it. I'll follow and comply with every rule and every regulation and do whatever it takes to be a part of the world again. I want to make sure it's understood that I'm not sorry because I got caught. I am sorry because I apologize for my actions. And I fully and solely acknowledge that what I did was wrong. I believe that I am now a better man than I was a year ago. I wish I could go back and change things. I wish I had a time machine. But my time machine has to instead be in the form of the future, and I want more than anything to make it a good one and a free one. I've never wanted to live life more than I do now, and to live it doing the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oliver. Valerie, vote.
Yes. To Miss Zoe and to your family, I thank you for the courage that it took to show up today. You're doing better than you think. You really, really are. A young man, Mr. Oliver, for me today, my vote is to deny. I concur with the warden. You need to complete that sex offender treatment program. Your full term date is June 15th to 24th, so you'll be getting some credits, and so you'll be getting out even sooner than that. The impact of the crime, the nature of the offense, again, the victim opposition, the law enforcement opposition. My vote is to deny this today. Best wishes to you, sir.
Ms. Jackson.
Right. My vote is the same, Mr. Oliver. I think you've made a lot of progress, and I'd like to commend you for that. And I'm glad to see that you have good family support. And maybe one day your family can be healed. But you need to complete more programming. And so my vote today is to deny.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Mr. Oliver, you received 2 votes to deny your parole. I concur with my colleagues. I think you need to complete that sex offender program. And I hope that you take it to heart and listen to everything that goes on for you to be able to understand and make sure nothing like this happens again in the future. I also pray that your families can be healed, both things. So your parole has been denied. Good luck to you.
Sir, thank you for your time. Thank you to the board.
Manipulative, schemy cockroach. The only thing worse than that cockroach are the people that came up to support him. It makes me sick. It makes me sick. It makes me want to pull my hair out. Remember, they're first cousins. These are blood relatives. You're going to come out in support of this cockroach? He has one more year left to serve. Are you kidding me? Miss Jackson is talking about families healing? Healing would be not to go and ask for to be released early. You only got a 2-year sentence. How dare you? To put the victim through this, to put their family through this? You heard what they said, what they're still going through? You're supposed to... What did we just watch? It was like we just had on display a bunch of narcissistic fools pleading for him to get out a year early on a 2-year sentence while the victim is there. My microphone. While the victim is there saying, keep him in. How dare you? I salute you, Chloe. We all do. You were brave to get up there. And the idea that they would come in support of him and give these little sob stories. He's getting out in a year. Have some decency. If you weren't complete disgusting cockroach, you would just do your time quietly. If you know she's opposed, God dang, and you want to ever maybe get healing, this is what you're going to do? You're going to put them through this? No. It shows your true colors. And for those of you who are confused and saying, what's going on? And all he did was send text messages. I don't know, Miss Wise's interviewing style, or if they were trying to, I'm not sure what it was, but it was more than just texting. He's in there for carnal knowledge of a juvenile. He's in there for indecent behavior with the juvenile. There's no articles on it. There's nothing on it. But he did more than just send texts. Just go look up what carnal knowledge of a juvenile stands for. At least that's my understanding. Two years. How do you only get 2 years? You get more for sneezing wrong. I just don't get it. You know, it was nice, though. It was nice to see an assistant district attorney actually show up. And that's because it's Randy Meyer. And Randy Meyer, I don't know what his thing is, but he shows up to, it seems, nearly every single hearing that comes into his parish. And it just happens to be that he doesn't have a lot of these cases, but he showed up to this one and he made a point. He said, I don't know how you got 2 years. Well, Randy, I really hope you're not doing double talk. I really hope you were not involved in that plea deal, because that's insane. And to think it's a 2-year sentence handed out just a year ago. This is 2022. Are we learning anything, Louisiana? I don't know even why they did a plea deal. You can tell that Chloe would get up on that stand. She's not afraid of this cockroach. I bet you they wouldn't let her to go to trial. Because we know how Louisiana feels about chomos. We know how Louisiana feels about people who hurt children. They don't seem to care that much. When Miss Wise asked him, so tell me what was going on in your head? This is his excuse. Poor me. I mean, if you can't get any more pathetic of an excuse. I wasn't doing well in college. I just got out of high school and I was in my first semester and I didn't do well. What? That's the best he was able to come up with? He doesn't even have a substance abuse problem? What do you think his problem is? He's a roach. And you know what's scary about this? What's terrifying about this? What is truly mind-blowing is he gets a girlfriend who then sticks up for him. Are you kidding me? And his mother comes up and speaks to get him out a year early. She's a church-going folk. She really cares. Why she cares so much that she believes if he was any risk, she would not support her only daughter to date him. Lady, wake up. What more do you need to see? He is in prison for carnal knowledge with his first cousin who is 14 years old. What more do you want? What more message do you want delivered to you? He was such a good guy because on the 4th date he told you that he was going to go to prison. Oh, not the first date, not the second, no, not the third, but the 4th. Great guy. How could anyone support their daughter to date someone who is in prison, who you just started dating him, but then someone who's in prison for this? And what do you think is going to happen when he moves into your home? Are you going to take him to church? Is he going to start volunteering? We all know what church is. It's like prime day for chomos. Unless you're watching real hard, and I don't believe for a second you would. It's just absolutely mind-blowing. You think, how can it be? How can people be so stupid? How can people be so... You really want to spend the rest of you want to get involved with that? Why? And then your mother supports you on it? You realize that you're speaking to get him out early when the victim is sitting across from you on the screen saying, please keep him in another year. Just that says everything you need to know about your character. How could you? These roaches, they tend to have enablers surrounding them. They tend to have people that just make them feel like it's not, that it's okay. And it's not okay. It was nice to see for the first time that 4 people wanted to talk on the victim side. when they could only settle for 3. Too often we see none. What was interesting, and Randy Meyer brought it up, right? I think it was Randy. He said that he has a moderate risk score, and that was concerning to him. Now, why that's concerning is that their risk score thing is messed up, and cockroaches 99% of the time have a low risk score. Because the risk score, we know how that makes a lot of sense. I mean, only data says that cockroaches are pretty much guaranteed to reoffend, but the risk score, which they use in prison to protect our children in society, it always rates them as low. Yeah, make sense of that, okay? But this one, he even got moderate. That is scary because, whoa, what bells are going off on that one? Yet the dude has a girlfriend while locked up, but he's a good guy because he told her on the 4th date what he did to his cousin. It's hard to believe they all could have just, the right thing to have done would have been to say, dude, there's a victim in here in this case. She's hurting. They would know she's hurting. They're related. Just do your time quietly. Just do your time. That would show some type of remorse. That would show some type of something. Just not even remorse, just consideration for the victim. But they didn't. Not only that, but they get up there and they plead for his release. They just want to go in there and shake all of them. Do they not even understand that just making her get up here and talk, that puts people through stuff? I like that the mom picked up the picture and said, let me show you who he was doing this to. Why was he doing it? Well, he said, I don't remember. That was easy enough for him to say. They let him get away with that. But at the beginning, well, he was going through a hard time. The poor baby. He didn't have a good year in his community college. The guy's never even been robbed before. He's never been a victim of anything. And yeah, he had to grow up with his uncle or whatever, but he actually seems to be a stand-up guy, except for coming here to support him. In his final speech, he says, in 2017, I was 19 and I made a mistake. I was immature and very sorry. It took me a long time to realize that I was sorry, or something like that. And then he goes into this whole thing, how he's like this brave ninja in the army. He joined up. He put on boots. And when he got accepted and there was a blackout, he stood guard somewhere. He's a true American hero. And because of that, we should let you out. We all salute you for your service, Cockroach. He tries that manipulative speech. Like, are you kidding me? You bring disgrace to your brothers in arms. You bring shame. They don't want anything to do with you. That uniform should never be worn by you again, and I don't believe it will. You wouldn't believe it unless you've seen it, and now you have. that, I'll let you go.